Let's start this question. Uh, okay. Question number 3, which is based on coin tossing models. Suppose that you tossed fair a fair coin 3 times. So once we flip the fair coin, it's like one time we can get head or tail. Okay, same thing happen each time, but once we consider uh, one coin flip few times, then we will be having this kind of values. Let's say 2 times, then it's gonna be like first head. This is the first trial. This is the first. This is the second. So like that, you can get first head, then tail, first tail, then head, or tail, something like that. Okay. So first question is, write down the sample space of the above experiment. So sample space, which denote by capital S, we write it within this square brackets. Okay. So write down sample space. What is the sample space mean? Sample space means all possible outcomes that we can get from the particular experiment. Okay, so sample space has all possible outcomes. A fair coin flip 3 times, you can find all possible how many possible outcomes by taking 2 to the power that times. Here it is 3. So all possible outcomes 2 to the power 3, which means 8. So you should have 8 possible outcomes. Okay, let's write them. This is how we write the sample space. So first you can get head, second you can get head, and third you can also get head. First head, second head, third tail, right? Head, tail, head. First tail, then head, then again head. Head, tail, 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 head, tail. So there is a pattern. Okay, so try to catch this pattern. Always try to change one. Like this is starting from all heads. Then change the last trial. This one. So this head change to tail. Then catch the last two. Likewise, you can see the pattern. Okay, all possible outcomes. These outcomes are distinct outcomes. Okay, they are unique. Okay, part B. They ask, write down the event space. So you know what is the difference between event space and sample space. Sample space covers everything, every possible outcomes in your experiment. Event space covers whatever this space, whatever belongs to your particular event. Okay, let's say, okay, event A having 2 heads. So you can see that having 2 heads, that can be like uh, any trial. Like first time you can get head, second time you can get head, like first time head, second time head, and also third time head. It's also possible. Okay, because they ask having 2 heads, so 2 or more, 2 or more. Okay, 2 or more. So this can be head, first head, second head, third head, third tail. Okay, head, tail, head, something like that. Okay, let's write that event A. So I'll write capital A. This is the event space for event A. 2 heads, first head, first head. uh, oh sorry, this is having 2 heads, just 2 heads. Okay, just 2 heads, just two, not more. It doesn't ask at least. So sorry for that, I just missed it. It's 2 heads, so this is not correct. This one, first one, is not belong to this part because it is having 2 heads, just 2 heads. So first 2 head, then tail, like this one. Okay, first 2 head, then tail, then this one, first head, tail, then head, and this one first tail, but next to trials those are heads. Then what else? This is just one head here, no heads. Okay, that's it. Okay, there are only three outcomes for this event A. Okay, we have to write everything, right? Yeah, B. Event B, having head at the first toss. This is important. First toss. So we need H in first toss. So you can see that. Okay, first toss. Head is here. Okay, head we can find. Yes, head. This is not a head for the first toss, but this one, yes. So I think yes, only these four. All three heads, first two heads, and last tail. First head, tail, head, then first head, tail, tail. Okay. Event C, having at least one tail. Okay, now you can find at least one mean one or more. Okay, one or more. So head can be, sorry, it belongs to this one. Okay, one or more. So head can be anywhere. It can be one head, two heads, or all three heads. So starting from first one, all three heads. Then head. Uh, oh, sorry. At least one tail. It's not about head. Sorry, it's about tail. I'm so sorry. It's about tail. At least one tail. So yes, one or more tails. One or more tails. Okay. So yes, same as the heads. It's gonna be like all three tails, two heads, and one tail, like this, right? Then starting from tail, two heads, first head, then two tails, tail, head, tail, two tails, tail, tail, it's there, two heads, tail, it's there, sorry, two heads, tail, it's there, HTH, HTH, it is there, THH, THH, here, HTT, HTT, it is there, THT, TTH, yes. So you can see there are 3, 6, 7 outcomes. Okay. Okay, what else? Oh, that's it. So next one is, what is the probability of having two heads? Okay, they ask what is the probability of having two heads. So you have to count how many possible outcomes for two heads. Altogether, you have how many outcomes? 8 outcomes, right? Altogether, 8 outcomes. But you have to consider how many outcomes for having two heads. So you can see, according to the part B, event A, it also asks having two heads. So how many outcomes? Just 3, right? 3 outcomes. So simply you can use these two numbers to get this probability. Probabilities, it's like a relative frequency, right? Probability of having, so I'll write probability of having two heads equals number of outcomes for event, that particular event. Number of outcomes for A, then divide by total number of outcomes, which means 3 over 8. You can simplify this or keep it like a fraction. Okay. Part D, what is the probability of having at least one tail? CD, at least one tail. So you saw that part B, event C is it's about having at least one tail, right? So event C, it has how many outcomes? 7 outcomes. Okay, so you can write probability of having at least one tail equals, there are 7 outcomes, divided by altogether 8. Okay, which means simply they ask probability of capital X. If you get the X is number of, okay, let's say X means number of tails. If you take X is number of tails, then X greater than or equal 1, right? So that's what they ask in your in our general notations. So parts E is check whether events A and B are mutually exclusive. A and B mutually exclusive. Are they mutually exclusive? Okay. If they are mutually exclusive, what happened? What happened if they are mutually exclusive? They like they have if they are mutually exclusive, then they don't have a common space, right? They don't have a common space, or let's say common outcomes. So if they are mutually exclusive, if A and B are mutually exclusive, then A intersect B is null. We denote null, it's like this, okay? Or you can say you can write it like, or like this, a square brackets, there is nothing inside the bracket. Okay, clear? So you have to check this. You have to check what is going on in this example. Do we have or not? Let's say A intersect B. Okay, let's go to the samples. Sample space, and what is A and B? A is having two heads. Okay, see A and B. So now you can consider these two guys, A and B. Then check, do they have common space? Yes, I can see one pair. See this one. Yes, I can see another one. Right? Yes, others are different. So yes, they have a common space. So you can write they have their common space. A intersect B. Their space is head, tail, head. So this is not equals to null, right? So the above condition is invalid. So they are not, so A and B is not null. You can say so that A and B are not mutually exclusive, right? Clear? Okay. Number 4. After the question, I just move to the another one. So if you have any question, please ask me. Okay. Okay. Use this one. Yes, you have to use the properties or basic properties of probabilities, like axioms of probabilities. Okay. Uh, okay. Part A. Probability of event A. This means event. Okay. P event. probability of event. Okay, so probability of event A, they have given these values for event A, probability of event B, and their intersection as well. So you have to find this probability of their union. Okay, to find this, I think you may remember that we use general addition rule. Okay, general addition rule, which is in general, okay, which is probability of A union B, okay, A union A union B equals to probability, they are individual probabilities, probability of A plus probability B minus their intersection, A intersect B. Okay, this happens, I can explain this using the Venn diagram. If you have A and B, let's say this is your B, this is your A. So A union B means whatever, oh sorry, whatever you can find from these two, A union B, right? So this equals to, I'll draw another one, A, B, B, this is A. Okay. Once you get probability of A, which means this area right here, and then probability of B, this area. Okay, now you can see that middle area I have colored 2 times, right? So I need to remove one. Okay, so that's why we remove one intersection from that, so that these are equals. Okay, that's how we get this equation. We call it general addition rule. Okay, so you can simply plug the values, part A, simply plug the values to this equation and get the result. Okay, uh, A, probability of A given 0.56, probability of B 0.78 minus probability of A intersect B 0.35. Once you simplify this, you will get 0.99. Okay, so this is the A union B. PA. Okay, the part B, PA given, probability of A given, probability of A equals to 0.56. It's given. They ask probability of A dash. What is dash? Something dash mean uh, the other side, which mean whatever includes A, we just forget about them and consider whatever does not equal, it belongs to that particular event. Okay, complement, we call that complement. So okay, let's draw this. If this is your A, this is your A. Okay, A complement mean whatever outside this A, this is your A. So A complement mean this one, this area. This is your A complement. A complement, you can write it like A dash or A uh, A dash or A C complement, like that. Okay, we use these two notations. Some books they use C, some books they use dash. Okay, so part C, oh sorry. So you can find easily this PA dash, which is 1 minus its original, 1 minus probability of A. Okay, so 1 minus 0.56, you can get 0.44. Okay, because now you have to consider there are only event A, so 1 minus A is what you need, A dash. Okay, okay, B, then C. Part C, PA given, PB given. If event A and B are independent, find A intersect B. Okay, if they are independent, okay, then if what happen if A and B are independent? If probability A and B, if they are independent, okay, sorry, if A and B are independent, right? Okay. If A and B are independent, then what happened? Probability of A intersect B, their intersection, which means their common area is, it's like probability, their individual some multiplication of their individual probabilities, PA times PB. Don't confuse this independent term with mutually exclusive. They are two different things. Okay, mutual exclusive, what we discussed last question, and independent is two different things. Okay, if they are independent, then their intersect probability of their intersection equals to their multiplication of their individual probabilities. So you can check their intersection. In this question, they ask what is the P probability of A intersect B. They have given they are independent. So easily you can plug the values. They have given, yes, they are independent. Then you have to multiply these two. It's going to be 0.2448. Okay, but still we have to do something. PAPB given, then we have to find this probability of A dash B. Okay, probability of A dash B. This one you can find using Venn diagram easily. Let me show that. Event A, event B. Okay, so you need A dash intersect B. So A dash is this one, whatever outside. Venn diagram is the easiest one to get to reach the solution. This is A dash, then intersect. Okay, sorry, A dash means this one, including B as well. A dash intersect B. So intersection of B. So this is B, right? Then their intersection is this area. So they ask the probability about this area. This part. Okay, which means you can see that once I can find the probability of B, which means this circle, area of this full circle, and remove this piece, right? If I can get the probability of B, okay, probability of this B, and remove their intersection, probability of A intersect B, then yes, I can get probability what they ask, A dash intersect B. Is that correct? I mean, can you understand that? That's how we deal with this kind of problems. Okay, so this is given A intersect B, you found here, so easily you can get the answer. Okay, so this is A probability of B, it is 0.68 minus this one is from the last part to, not last part, from the same part you can find this. So this value 0.4352. Okay, so what is the next one? Since seems time is going up, I'll do just another one. Okay, I think I'll do the last one, this one. So everything is pretty similar, so you have to draw the Venn diagram and see what is the picture, what is the final result, then try to approach using that result, that picture. Okay, we have to use A union B dash, A union B dash, A union B dash. I don't know whether you remember or not for this one. Let's see. Okay, P A union B. There is a law called De Morgan's law. De Morgan's law. This says something like this: there are two De Morgan laws actually, but for according to this question, A union B dash, it's equals to, I think I did this in once I taught this one, De Morgan's law. You can check your notes. This equals to A dash intersect B dash. This union turns to intersection, and this complement assigned to both A and B. Okay, this we call the De Morgan's law. There is another one very similar to this one. We call De Morgan's law. So you can use this result right here. So probability of A dash intersect B dash. Okay, or easily you can use, since this is complement, right? You can consider this as a, or you can consider this as a total probability, like PA. Do you remember that PA equals, or PA dash equals equals 1 minus probability of A. You can use this as well. So you can write 1 minus, this equals to 1 minus probability of A union B. Same thing. You can find the same answer using this one or this one. Okay. If I use the second one, PA union B, you have figured it out, I think previously. So it is 7952. You can find this using, yeah, I think first part, I'm not sure, but you can find this using, uh, you can find this using the general addition rule. Okay, so this answer right here is 0.2048. There are two approaches, this one or this one. Okay. Okay, now I move to the next question. So you can try these things. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I don't have enough time. I already kept a space, but okay. This one, question number 5. I think if I remember correct, I think I gave this kind of question, very similar question for your mid exam too. I'm not sure, but if I remember correct, yes. Okay, this is Bayes type question. Okay, Bayes type question or Bayes probabilities. That type question. Okay. Okay. Bayes type question like total probabilities and everything. Okay. At certain gas station, 40%, which means 0.4 of the customers using regular gas, which is A1, it is 0.35. So probability of A1 is equals to 0.35. 35%, which means this is event A2. Event A2 equals to 0.35. Okay, based on this. Then 25% use premium, which is A3. So probability of A3 is 0.25. Of those customers using regular gas, okay, regular gas, only 30 fill their tanks. Only 30% fill their tanks. They have given that customer who uses regular gas, they fill this much. Customer who uses plus gas, customer uses plus, they fill this much. And whereas of those premium, okay, premium people, they fill this percent. They have to consider, they have mentioned that to consider, take that event, fill their tanks. This means fill their tank, this part, as event B. Okay. So you can write this using regular gas. The 30% fill their tanks, which means 0.3 fill their gas. What given? Event B given. Event B given, A happens. Probability of A given B. So probability of A1, not A1 given B is 0.3. Probability of event A2 given B, which means this one, 60%, which means 0.6. Probability of A3, this is 3, given B, which is the last one using premium, 50% of their tax, 0.5. Clear? This is how we convert our question into general notations. This is the easy. This now question is really easy. You don't have to go through again you go through the question again. You have all the values. Okay, you have individual values, individual probabilities, and they are conditional probabilities. We call these conditional probabilities. Okay. Okay. Part A. What are the probabilities of filling their tags? Okay. What is the filling their tags? What's the event for that? This one. Probability of B is the filling of their tags. So for this we use total probability. Total probability. Do you remember how to get the total probability? Summation of I equals from 1 to n. Okay. Probability of that particular event given the subspace AI and the times probability of that subspace. Okay. If you remember, let me draw this again. If we have our subspace like this, events A1, A2, A3, like this, they are mutually exclusive events like this. This is let's say A1, this is A2, and this is AI, whatever. Okay. If our event B, it happens like this. This is our event B. Okay. So it covers many subspace events. Okay. A1, what's the A1? A1 is the using regular gas. Okay. B is filling the tanks. People who are using the regular gas, they fill their tanks. That's the idea behind this. Okay. So you have to you have to collect all the probabilities like this, piece by piece. Okay. Piece by piece, piece by piece. Then we can get the total probability of B. You can use this. This is what exactly mentioned. Okay, conditional probability. B can happen at the same time that that partition is given. The probability of that partition given. That's what is mentioned here. So for this case, I can rewrite this because you have just 3 events. It's easy. I can write it probability of B given A1 times probability of A1. Okay, plus summation means plus probability of B given A2 times probability of A2. Sorry, not equal the plus probability of B given A3 times PA3. Okay, once you plug the values for these individual values, you can easily find, right? Everything is here. So plug the values, finally you can get 0.455. Clear? Here you have n equals 3. You have only 3 events. Okay, so this is the total probability question, part A. So part B, okay, next customer. If the next customer fill their tank, what is the probability of probability that regular gas is required? Regular gas mean what? A1, right? What is fills their tanks? It is B. Okay, so you need to find probability of A1 given B. B is given. They are filling their tanks. Okay, fill in their tanks. but that next customer is A1 or regular gas customer. To find this kind of probability, we use Bayes theorem. Okay, Bayes theorem. You can expand this using Bayes theorem, that given event, given the particular event A1 times its probability. Okay, which means the probability of that particular event divided by total probability. Summation of I equals 1 to n, probability of B given AIs times probability of AI. Of those customers using regular gas, okay, regular gas, they have given people are using regular gas, then this much fill their tanks. Given this right here, and say, okay, this much fill their tanks. B given A1. So this also B given, okay, let me, do I have eraser here? No, no eraser. So this gonna be, okay, I'll rewrite this. This is probability of given one, given regular gas. Regular gas means A1. What they do, fill in their tanks. So this is probability of B given A1. This one, probability of A2, sorry, B given A2. Okay, for this one, because they have given customers using plus, which means your A2 and fill their tanks. So given A2, fill their tanks this much. Okay, same here, for the premium case, given they are given A3, fill in their tanks, probability of this one. Okay, so yes, now you can plug these values right here, this one here, this one here. Okay, clear? Now what they ask, yes, this is correct. Next customer fills their tank. Okay, fills their tank is B. B given regular gas, it is A1. B given A1. Okay, this is, now this is correct. You can use the Bayes theorem. You can find this total probability from part A. This part you can figure it out from probability of B given A1. Yeah, it is there. Yeah, it is there. It is right here. You can plug that value 0.3 times probability of A is 0.4, right? Yeah, from the very beginning it is 0.4. For this case, it's equals to it's equals to 0.26. Let me calculate this. 37. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Bayes theorem problem. Okay. Don't miss this question like I did. Okay. Of those customers using regular gas, so try to understand what they have given. Okay, what they have given, try to understand that first, then what they have, what they asking, like this. Okay, so if they haven't mentioned any notations like regular gas A1, premium gas A3, like that, you can pick your own notation. Like you can take regular gas is the event for regular gas, it is A1. Event for premium gas, it is A3, something like that. Okay, it depends on the question. So if they haven't mentioned, you can take it, but final answer should be the same. Okay, I think I have time, so let's move to the next question real quick. I think I can finish this one only. Question number 6. Consider the probability distribution of number DVDs. Okay, X given. These are the observations. Your observations given. Their probabilities are given. This is a discrete question. Discrete distribution. Okay, you can see number of DVDs. They are discrete. So the probability you need to find the probability of checked out at least 4 DVDs. At least 4. At least 4 mean part A. Probability of X. Okay, let's say. X is the number of DVDs that they are checked out. Okay, checked out. This is your event. Okay, I define this. Okay, this is x. So x at least mean greater than or equal at least 4. This one. So you have to pick correct probabilities greater than 4, or equal this one, and this one, right? So I can write using notations. It's going to be like x equals 4, probability of x equals 5, plus probability of x equals 6. Okay, so add these probabilities and you can get the answer 1.5. This is 0.3. Part B, calculate the expected number of checked out. Okay, expected number of checked DVDs, which mean expected value of x. Simply it's the mean. Okay, simply it's the mean. So using notations from I equals 1 to 6, x probability of capital X equals simple x. Do you remember this notation? This means x multiplied by its probability, x multiplied by its probability, plus next x multiplied by its probability. So x1 times probability of capital X equals x1, plus up to last one, up to last one, x6 multiplied by probability of x equals x1. Capital N is simple, it doesn't matter. So x1 is 1 times, okay, I'll use this cross for the multiplication. Probability of x equals x equals simple x 1, it is 0.3. This one, plus like that, this one x6 multiplied by probability of x equal x6, it is 0.15. So this is gonna be so this is the expected value 2.85. Okay, so part C, it is same thing. You have to find the expected values, but problem is here you don't have x, you have another function. Do you remember this guy converted to a function like this? So same theory, okay, the same theory we can use I mean define predefined, what it's called predefined theory to get this answer using 2-3 lines. Okay, so I'll teach you that. That's the easiest one. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Before I go that, this is the variance. There is a variance. I didn't see that. Okay, variance of x. You can find. Okay, this is the point I need to teach you. This one, variance of x. In any case, if you have to find variance of this, this kind of thing. In discrete distributions, you can use variance of x equals to expected value of x squared minus squared of expected value of x. This one. Okay. Yes, you have to find what is expected value of x squared. Let's say this is the equation number 1. So let's find expected value of x squared. Same theory, only thing is you have to square these each x values. x1 squared times px equals x1. I think I teach this one, right? Up to x6 squared times probability of x equals x6. So same thing, but these values, they are changing a little bit. Here 1 squared times 0.3 plus up to this point, x6 is 6 squared times x equals 6. Oh, sorry, x equals 6 mean there's a value, right? 6 squared times 0.15. Okay, once you get this, you will see that this value is 11.35. You already know this expected value of x. You have to take the square. That's it. So now from 1, you can get variance of x equals expected value of x squared 11.35 minus expected value of x squared. X is 85 squared, and you can simplify this 75. Okay,